Hi friends, this is Tony from Historic American Homes. Putting together this little video here. It's just a little walkthrough of another project I'm working on at the moment. And I'm bringing it up because it's going to touch on kitchen designs. We looked at kitchen design some in my earlier video on mid-century modern inspired small home. And there's so much to cover in kitchens that I thought it wouldn't hurt to just show you another kitchen that I'm working on and some of the issues that come up with it. Just a quick description of what this project is about. I have this lovely old, bring up the picture here, a book from the 1920s called Small Homes of Distinction. And I've pulled this page from it, and I'm going to design a small house based on, inspired by this design from Small Homes of Distinction. Let me increase the size of the image a little for you. There's the house. Simple little house, but I think a very nice practical floor plan. I'm making adjustments to it to bring it more in line with contemporary living habits. 2 bedrooms and a bathroom to one side. I've expanded this a little bit to work in a small laundry. A living room, dining porch, which I'm turning into a dining room. I'm opening it up further to the living and kitchen spaces. And then I'm expanding the kitchen a little bit to make it a little bit more functional. So that's what I'm working on. It's going to be something I'm going to have online in the next few weeks. But anyway, back to the drawing here. I thought I'd take this opportunity to show you some things about corner cabinets and corners in kitchen. They're problem spots in general. It's hard to get good use of a corner. Whenever you have a U-shape or an L-shaped plan, you end up with a corner space that needs to be addressed somehow. It's easy to lose the storage that you would normally have access to if that was open. So there are 3 different types of corner cabinet that are commonly available. One is L-shaped, typically 3 feet by 3 feet, with a lazy Susan arrangement inside. You see that here. Another is same idea. It's 3 feet by 3 feet, but it's got a diagonal across the open face and a larger lazy Susan. This type of cabinet, of all the options, this type probably allows the most, you get the most use of your corner out of this type of cabinet. It's also quite an expansive piece of countertop you end up with when you do this diagonal, which is a plus. On the minus side, a lot of countertop materials are pre-cut to a 2-foot depth, and which is efficient and cost effective. So when you do this diagonal cut here, you can't. You have to find some way to adapt your countertop material to a different depth, and that can involve a little extra cost. Third type of corner cabinet is typically 2-foot by 4-foot cabinet with a sort of semicircle lazy Susan, and this probably makes the least use of the corner space. So it's generally the last option I turn to. But in this kitchen, I was struggling to find a way to make it work and ended up with going that route. After I did that and got everything in place, I realized there may still be a way to make something better work. You see, the problem I've got here is a conflict between the cabinet door from the corner cabinet and this oven door. When you try to open this cabinet door, it's going to be blocked by the oven. So this looked fine when I was doing my first initial sketches. I hadn't really anticipated this conflict here, but having put it in detail, I realized that I was setting myself up for a problem, and I knew I needed to look at this a little further. So here's the first possibility. Here's the first potential approach. I'm going to take these guys and move them out of the way. Let's move them over. Take it over 10 feet. All right. And these pieces, basically what I've done is I have used a separate cooktop and oven, which I did separate cooktop and oven before, but I've put the oven in the adjacent cabinet, and I've put drawers underneath the cooktop. This is the least disturbance to my original scheme, this approach, and I think it will work. There's no real conflict happening anymore, and it's not a bad arrangement. If you're working on the food prep stuff and you want to put something into the oven, you pull the oven door down. You'll be standing here while you do that, so you can get to the oven easily. It doesn't trip you up or anything. So this has got some potential as a solution, but there are other possibilities as well. Put that guy away. Let's take a look at this one here. Let's see. We will move these away. And this would be using that corner Lazy Susan instead. Now if I go with the corner Lazy Susan, I can keep my original setup here, except I have to move everything over 1 foot further than I had it before. Which I have to decide whether I want to adjust the size of the opening into the dining room and make that a little bit smaller. If I decide that's an acceptable compromise, then this solution would also work. There is no real conflict between this door and the oven. The door here can open towards the right and would have full access to the Lazy Susan without it bumping against the oven. So that's a nice option. It involves the compromise on the opening towards the dining room, but it provides me with a better use of the corner. And then let's put that away and look at one more. The last one we're going to look at somewhat similar. Oh, that's using the L-shaped corner cabinet instead. And if I use the L-shaped, oh, I missed a thing. When I had the diagonal cabinet here, I also wanted to mention that I was proposing to use a diagonal wall cabinet because the diagonal lines were a good match. However, on this side, it doesn't make sense to have a diagonal cabinet. So to have a diagonal on one side and not on the other might not be a good look. So for that reason, that was one of the downsides of the previous version. So the compromise or the alternative then would be to use the L-shaped corner cabinet, which would allow me to keep with my L-shaped corner wall cabinet, which generally I think makes a cleaner looking arrangement. We've got nice symmetry on either side of the kitchen window with matching corners on either side. Having put them all in place, I'm kind of leaning towards this setup. L-shaped, separating the oven from the cooktop. It leaves the workspace more clear, keeps the oven door out of the main working area. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I haven't made up my mind completely how this is going to turn out yet, but that's where it stands. And that's the issue of what happens in corners. It's really easy for these little conflicts between cabinet doors and appliances at corners. It's an easy thing to have happen, and something you need to watch out for when you're working on your layouts. So thanks for joining me. I'm going to call that enough here. If you like this and you want to see more on home design using SketchUp and Layout, please subscribe. Please click the little like button. There'll be more videos coming out soon. I'm trying to put out at least one a week, sometimes two. Thanks a bunch. Have a great day. Bye.